Alright guys, welcome to White Oak Creek Outdoors Podcast. Today we sit down with Bill Sanborn. We talk ice fishing and brook trout fishing, a little bit of fly fishing. I want to thank our sponsor, La Virtue Builders, and we also are going to be having a new sponsor here shortly. Just got to finalize that and hopefully start doing some bigger and better things. So hopefully you guys enjoy this podcast. This is White Oak Creek Outdoors, a podcast for everyone with a passion for the outdoors. Alright, White Oak Creek Outdoors Podcast, episode 6. Today we have William Sanborn. We're going to talk ice fishing, maybe a little bit of brook trout fishing. Today we've just got me and Chris, and then we've got Bill. What's up, Bill?
Nothing much. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming. So, start off by sort of introducing yourself and telling us how you got started into ice fishing and why you ice fish.
Well, first, from Wakefield and, your brother.
Yeah, you introduce people fucking weird, man.
Do I?
Yeah. Like, I have no relationship to this person, yet he's a stranger sitting in my room.
Yeah, here's William Sanborn. Where are you from? We lived in the same house.
I tried to make it dramatic.
I'll go with it.
Jesus Christ, pick
I
me
won't.
apart.
We need to fix this shit.
All right, we're gonna rename this episode to "Shit on Brandon."
Okay.
Right.
We
I
can
can
work
do that
with
for an hour.
Yeah, me too, easily.
But anyways, been ice fishing my whole life. Dad got me into it when we were young, and back then it was we didn't really have too much for equipment, stuff like that. So it was kind of go with what you have, and ice fishing traps from 50 years old, which I still have a couple of them, but they just don't work that good. So that's pretty much it.
Your dad basically got me into it as well.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, that was what we did on the weekends. Started at 3 inches of ice, and I mean, there was plenty of times we would, bring the truck on,
right,
and just fish from the truck.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like every time we went with him, we caught fish.
Yeah. I mean,
for the most part, really.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much knew where to go and shit like that. But
yeah, he was like an old timer.
He was, and he always had to use the same bait every time, and he was never into jigging. He would never do any of that stuff.
Right.
If he saw the sonar that I had now,
yeah. So
probably call me an idiot.
I want to talk about that a little bit because I don't know jack about any of that stuff. So let's get into the gear end of this. What do you use for gear? Oh, let me rephrase this. What did you used to use for gear? What do you use now, and why is it better and different?
Well, we always had the Jiffy Gas Auger for years and years. I mean, we've had the same one for I think 20 years now.
I think it's still going.
And we've never done anything to it. I don't think we even changed spark plug. Mm-hmm. Those things just run forever, but they suck. So, sometimes they're fantastic, sometimes they're not. When you have to drill, like right now, I'm targeting different species that I normally would. So I'm drilling 40 to 50 holes every day.
Jesus
and
Christ.
If we had to drill 40 holes with that Jiffy...
Oh, you'd be dead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was plenty of times it would take us, even a minute and a half to get through a hole. If you have to do that over and over again, you're just completely exhausted.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're not really using that at all.
What did you get this year?
We got the K drill. So that's a 7.5 inch K drill, and it's actually like all the fans on it are plastic, and it just has 2 blades on the bottom.
Really?
And it is absolutely amazing. And you use it with a Milwaukee drill. So I got a hammer drill and extended battery, and the thing I can get through a hole in like 4.5, 5 seconds.
Wow. Just eats ice.
Yeah, and you can carry it with one hand.
Wow.
So, You know, I mean,
That's
it
huge.
completely changes it.
Yeah.
And it makes it so much like you want to get up and move and go to a different area is not a big deal now.
Right. Yeah, because that was
before it was terrible.
Yeah,
have to
just
start all
such
over.
a pain in the ass.
Yep.
That would be cool to use because, like you said, you could move, quarter of a mile or whatever you would want to move because we wouldn't even want to go 100 yards.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, we'd be looking at the area all day,
Yeah.
thinking about going over there.
Yeah, and that's probably where all the fish were, and we missed out on all the fish because we were so lazy that we didn't want to.
Yeah. So another thing that I use now, which my dad never used, was an app on my phone called Navionics, and that is it completely plots where you are on the lake and gives you your current depth.
Really?
So that's fantastic.
So that's basically like Onyx, but for the water.
Oh, is that what you use for hunting?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it gives us ridges. It gives us anything that we kind of want to target.
So it would give you like a drop off, like shelves and.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it only has Winnipesaukee right now that's close to us for depth shading, but it has actual depth shading, different colors, so that way you can kind of only like if blue was at 45 feet deep, you could kind of just go with blue across the whole lake to find out where the 45 foot is.
Is it free?
$20 for the year, 21.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, and it's fantastic.
And you can use it.
It's mostly for boating.
Okay, I was gonna say you can use it
Yeah.
the whole year.
Yep. So it's boating, but mainly people just use it for for ice fishers. That's what they use because you can when you get a hot hole, you can plot it, so that way you can come right back to it.
Oh, you can pin.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fucking cool.
Yeah. So we have all kinds of like I have Wentworth, some on Ossipee, Balch, Pine River. I have a bunch of spots that I've targeted out, and spots that I want to hit. I didn't get to hit them this year, but
No shit, that's cool.
yeah, it's kind of cool, like inside corners and stuff like that, where you think the fish are gonna push bait fish into the corner or something.
Does it show you like currents?
No, because unfortunately most of that is changing. I mean, lakes don't change,
Right.
but when you get out in the ocean,
Yeah.
that stuff changes all the time. So I don't think they can really.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I
there's something.
I just didn't know, like, because even at the meadows, when we used to fish the meadows, we know where that current runs.
Yeah.
But if someone else didn't,
Yeah.
we used to catch brook trout.
That was
out
crazy.
there. That was the most wild thing.
Yeah.
Just a swamp, and we were catching what 8 to 12 inch brook trout.
Yeah.
Just monsters.
Well, for us.
Yeah. For a swamp.
Yeah.
Like, literally a swamp.
Yeah, I mean, Brad, he won't tell us, but he has a secret spot that he's been going to this year for brook trout fishing, and he's been getting, like, huge. I mean, not long, but super fat.
Fat.
Oh, yeah.
Natives?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and just, he couldn't keep the flags down. It was unbelievable.
He didn't tell you what lake?
Oh, it's a tiny pond, but he won't.
Yeah,
he won't tell me where it is.
I wouldn't either.
I know. Yeah, you don't give up your spots.
So you use a sonar as well this year? Did you use it last year as well?
Yeah, so I got it last year, and I didn't have too big of a budget, so it was only $200. It's a Garmin Striker, and it's okay, but it doesn't give us.
But it has good reviews, right?
It has good reviews, and I think the reviews are coming from people that have a low budget.
Oh, okay.
You know?
So it's good, but for low budget.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you the flasher, which that's the type that ice fishing uses, but it also gives you a GPS tracker for where you are, and you can kind of target some locations, but it doesn't really give you the in-depth stuff like the Navionics has. So when you use both in conjunction, it works pretty good.
What is a good one? What does a expensive one go for?
Like $7,000 to $1,000.
And that's a real good one?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
What's like the max? Do you know? Ish?
The max-ish? Well, there's some that give you, like mine only covers I think it's a 25 or 30 degree cone that goes to the bottom. So if you're only in 10 feet of water, you really can't see that far
'cause it
left
goes-
and right.
Right.
Because it's not a big cone. But some of them have a pretty wide cone, and they have a good transducer that goes with it that you can get. It's pretty amazing, and it shows you full screen. Like mine's only a 4-inch screen, 4 by
Right.
I think an inch and a half or 2. But some of them have 7 to 9-inch screens, and you
Jesus.
can see fish coming in from 20 feet away. You can just see them just coming right at your bait. It's amazing.
Wow.
And that's what I'd like to get, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the last couple of years you've ice fished a lot.
Yeah.
So I think you're almost at that point where that's your niche thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to increase every year as I go.
Right.
This year was definitely the K drill. That's not cheap. I bought a hand auger because I really wanted to try to get the kids into using, the way it used to be.
Yeah.
But it never even left the box. and then I returned it and got the K drill.
Oh, that's
Because it's tough. I mean, they like ice fishing, and I want to get them into it and have them enjoy it, before I have them do that themselves.
Yeah. Ice fishing is a good, it's really good for kids because it's, if you're in a spot where there's, perch or bass and those flags are just popping all day.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's super fun for the kids and they get right into it.
Yeah, there's been times when we've been on the meadows,
Yeah.
and we ran out of bait
Yep.
because we just can't. The same perch, I swear, you put it back in the hole
Yeah.
and it just takes your bait again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I actually started eating perch last year.
Do you like it?
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, fish
What-
tacos,
White perch or yellow perch?
both.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And black crappie. We had crappie this year.
Crappie is really good, I heard. Have
Yeah,
you have you ever had crappie, Chris?
No, the only thing I've ever had is Brook trout or rainbow trout.
Really?
Yep.
For fish?
Yeah.
No shit.
Which I've never had rainbow. I've never eaten a rainbow trout.
I don't know if I have either. I think
I've caught a couple of them, but I've never really targeted them either.
right. Yeah, you got to know your
Well, and that's the big thing. I don't know if I told you about the Wakefield Derby. We were on Great East and we were targeting rainbow because they don't have lake trout on the board. So
Really?
yeah, there's no lake trout for the Wakefield Derby.
Why?
I was told to ask Wayne that question, but I don't know. I know you can only fish Great East for lake trout, so I
Right.
think that if you did that, maybe too many people would go on there and target them.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't think it would put too much damage on there, but you'd definitely be killing a lot
yeah.
more fish.
Yeah.
But I was in 10 inches of water and we were targeting lake trout and the flag went off and I was in 10 inches. I mean, we were targeting rainbow. I don't know what I just said, but we were targeting rainbow and 10 inches of water should be rainbow territory.
Right.
And the flag went off. Actually, the flag went off. We didn't see it. So I went off it was in a perfect spot where it was against the shore and you couldn't really see the flag, but everyone kept telling me it was down. And then I went over there to check it, and as soon as I saw it, it was up. And I was like, oh shit, how long has this been up? So I go over, and I was completely spooled. There was no more line, and thankfully my knot held.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, needless to say, yeah, he swallowed the hook, and he took all the line, and I started pulling in, and I got 20 yards back, and I finally felt him, and he was probably 4.25 pounds, and it was a lake trout
Really?
in 10 inches of water. Yeah. And every single form that you read
Yeah.
will tell you target 40, 60 feet.
Right.
And sometimes you might get them in 5 feet of water when they come in,
But not a foot.
but yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy that 10 inches of water under the ice.
How much line did you have on there?
Oh,
300 yards?
no, probably 100 yards. Because
Still quite a
the
bit.
packs
Yeah.
generally come in 100-yard spool.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm just glad the knot held at the end. I mean,
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
That's lucky.
Sitting there for a while, just.
Yeah, it was freezing that day too. All the line was frozen when I was putting it back on. But we had that happen
at the Meadows.
The Meadows.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian set that flag the wrong way.
Yeah.
And we went over to it at the end of the day, and it had like a 5-pound bass on it.
Pickerel.
Oh, it's pickerel?
Yeah, big friggin' pickerel.
Yeah.
And he starts, he's like, oh, what the heck? He starts friggin' reeling the thing in. He's like, I think it's just weeds. Starts bringing it in more and more and more. I'm like, holy shit, how much friggin' line is on that thing? And he reels it in and brings this friggin' big pickerel up. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. End of the day,
yeah.
I don't know how many flags we got.
I don't think we got many that day, to be honest.
So that was another time that would have been great to have the K drill. Yeah. I think we had 10 people out there.
Yeah, we had quite a bit.
And we drilled a lot of holes. Mm-hmm. And there's been times where we may get 6 traps apiece, but we stop.
Right.
And we just each do 3.
Yeah.
Because we're just done.
Yeah. That thing's so heavy.
Yeah.
What are you using for traps? Are you still using the Heritage?
Yep. Yeah, Heritage traps. Unless I have the like crappie and stuff like that, I'll go with the those HT, those black ones, the Pringles flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have that Pringles flag.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Those are like the polar tip-ups, right?
Yeah. They're so easy to use.
They're
for crappie, they're easy to set off.
Yeah.
So, some of my bigger Heritage traps, I mean, for a rainbow or a Laker, they're not going to feel it. But sometimes actually getting the flag to go up is sometimes a little bit much for an 8-inch, crappie.
Right. What was I going to say there? Cusk. That's what I was going to say. You go.
No cusk this year.
You didn't at all, or
no? I wanted to, but the only time I really cuss fish is on level when I have the kids, or if I want real cuss, then we'll go to Winnipesaukee.
Yeah.
But I didn't do the tournament this year, so, and I plan on. I mean, it seems like every year it falls on my work weekend.
Yeah.
But I really want to do a overnight, Friday night, Saturday night.
Yeah.
And do
cool.
cuss jigging all night. That'd be crazy.
Oh, you can jig for those things?
Yep.
No shit.
Oh, they're crazy. Yeah.
Probably put up a good fight too, huh?
Yeah, and there's so many of them that if you find an area, I mean,
really?
They just, yeah.
Now, what is a cusk?
I have no clue.
It's a fish.
No kidding.
I think the actual name is burbot, but it's...
What is it?
Burbot.
Burbot?
Bot at the end.
Oh, burbot?
Burbot. And they're delicious. I made a cusk chowder last year.
Ew.
Yep.
Gross.
Okay. What?
Chris is over there licking his chops. He's like, that sounds pretty good.
It does. I love a good chowder.
I'll tell you what, it was fantastic. The only thing I will say is cleaning them.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
Now, a cusk is like, maybe I'm wrong, but it almost looks like a mix between a eel and a catfish.
Yep.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah. And they can get huge.
Big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and this is where I'm ignorant. You guys are naming all these fish, and I'm like, it's a fish.
Yeah, a fish is a fish.
You pull a fish out of the hole or off the rod, you're like, hey, look, it's a fish. That's where my level is.
Chris was like, he's like, what are we going to talk about ice fishing? Like, getting drunk around a hole? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like,
I'll tell you.
it's way more in depth than that.
Sometimes I say stuff when people say that, and sometimes I don't. But of course, there's the occasional whiskey bottle that comes out.
Oh yeah.
But for the most part, I've never drank.
No, you're serious. Like, it's game time.
And even Rich is the same way. When I ice fish with him, he'll have a couple of beers, but if there's other people, then it turns into a
drunk fest.
Yeah,
which isn't a bad thing, but like when you're going out there and it's cold, like you want to catch fish. You don't.
Yeah, cold like that time that I got that ticket.
What?
For fishing with no license.
Was that on Great East?
Yeah.
That dude.
It was like negative 35 that day with the wind chill.
Damn.
Wind gusts were like 35.
You could only see 15 feet in front.
Yeah. I'm like,
I was like, no way is there going to be a game warden today.
I'm like, how did the game warden even see us from where he was?
Yeah.
Like, but
it just happened to be.
Now let's get into this story. How did you lose your fishing license?
New Hampshire?
Yes.
Because of you.
Sounds about right already.
Yeah, so the way it happened, real quick, is we went out wheeling. Was it Archie's Pit?
Yep.
Yeah. So Archie's Pit, Ospey, first of all, fantastic place to go. If you're on a recreational vehicle, not a vehicle. And what was that? Is the name of that pond? Is it just? I think it's just Archie's Pond out there. Do you remember the pickerel we pulled out of there?
Oh my god!
Unbelievable.
It's a small, I don't know, maybe an acre.
Yeah, maybe an acre or two.
And it's just a shallow pond out in the middle of freaking nowhere, and we were pulling friggin' pickerel out like it was nobody's business.
3.5 pound pickerel just off the bottom like they were logs.
Right. Yeah, I've always heard there's good, decent fishing in there.
Yeah, and then in the rivers, there's beautiful brook trout.
Yeah,
he's been there.
Yeah, I used to. I shoot guns in Archie's Pit all the time. Then when I had my Jeep, I'd wheel all. Allegedly, I would wheel all through there.
Easy. Yeah, so, we went out there, we got absolutely buried. And I tried to tell you not to go into an area, even though that's a...
Here's the thing.
Debatable...
You don't tell someone not to do something. Because guess what? You're gonna do it.
They're gonna do it. Yeah, well, it's...
That's a given.
Regardless, got absolutely destroyed. One of the worst stuck we've ever been.
Oh, 100%.
So my genius idea was to, hey, the fire department's down the road. Let's give them a call and see if they ever come along. Not a horrible idea.
Pretty bad.
But, so, of course, they had told the...
Game warden?
No.
The PD.
The PD.
Oh.
So I don't know if they told them or if it was like they needed to announce that they were like going over there or whatever. But they were there. And they gave us... They gave me a ticket because I'm usually the one who's talking. So he writes me up for the ticket.
I said, I'm not taking the ticket when you called the fucking cops.
So I took the ticket and he wrote it down with Brandon's car information because that's whose car it was. And he was like, so this is your car? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, whose car it is? And I was like, it's my brother's. And he's like, well, why, he's like, well, I've already written the ticket. And I was like, then give it to me. So they gave it to me, and it took me 8 years to pay it. So after a year, they pulled my New Hampshire fishing license and hunting. So I said, all right, I'll just get my Maine license. Because we fish Great East anyways.
Yep.
It's a border, so I don't care.
Have you paid it off?
Yeah.
You did?
Yep. Last year I paid it off.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
It took me forever. I mean, it's not like I didn't try to pay it. Well, I mean, after a couple of years, I called them trying to pay it, and I got such a runaround.
Yeah.
You need to call X, you need to call Y, and it was crazy. So I just gave up.
So you can hunt now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I try to leave some for you. So
okay, we know.
Chris actually mentioned it. I would actually enjoy hunting. The problem is I don't have the time for it.
Yeah.
I can't bring the kids with me.
Right.
Because I'm not going to get anything. So, and when it comes to hunting, it's not like ice fishing where you can do something else while you're waiting.
Right.
So it's tough. The kids want to hunt, and for the most part, I've told them, Uncle Brand can take you. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to, and when I look at a deer, the last thing I think about is putting it down. I know that is not what you want to hear, but
hey, to each their own.
Yeah,
I just think about how they kind of taste good.
Yeah,
I mean they do. That's why I get venison from him.
Oh, yeah. that's fair.
They're fantastic. I love them, especially ice fishing. That's one of the big things ice fishing is.
Yep.
Is cooking out there.
Right, and you're a good cook as well. Like you can prepare some good stuff.
Yeah, we had one Sunday we had I think, like 15 people out on Great East. And we had
Wow.
I had 2 grills going, and we did an incredible amount of food. I mean, I think we went through like 2 dozen eggs, and
Wow.
I'm a huge fan of Spam.
Hey.
So me and Spam we easily do a whole can.
See, that's fun. Like, that's where I think the aspect of fishing / ice fishing is different than hunting. Hunting, like we talked about with my dad, you can do deer drives and all that, but it's still kind of a soul sport.
Right.
Fishing, ice fishing, you can do with friends, you can do with buddies, you could be on the boat drinking the beer on the ice.
Yeah.
It's a different aspect.
Whereas in the woods, you kind of got to be quiet. You can't be cracking open a cold one. You can't.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure there is people.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Back to when you got that ticket.
Yeah.
That, to me, that is so messed up. Okay, you've got a bunch of kids, right, having a good time, four-wheeling, not causing any trouble, really. I mean, the trail's already there. It's already ruined. It's already a mud pit.
Yeah.
It's not like we went on someone's lawn and made a mud pit. You're going to give a ticket to somebody for doing that when they could be out doing drugs, drinking and driving, any of that crap.
And the thing that pissed me off about it is that we did not believe that we were on private land.
Exactly.
Because we're allowed to bring our dirt bikes, four-wheelers, and go riding there.
So what's the
And
difference?
You're allowed to go there and shoot, which there's a lot of people that leave their targets and leave all their trash. That's okay.
Right.
But you can't go drive in the woods.
Right.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, are there people that maybe that litter and everything like that? Of course there is.
100%.
Yeah, then that's everywhere. There's people that litter while they're hunting.
Right.
So
I think that they could have handled that way differently, because think of it from, a young kid's perspective. He's 16 years old, takes his dumb Jeep out, gets stuck. Like, you're going to deter that kid from going out and having fun, and now he's going to go and drink and,
Or what else you're going to deter him from is being a fan of police.
And
so that's another aspect.
That's the other aspect of it, is there's routes you can go without being a total douchebag.
Right.
And it's the same thing with the fish and game stuff we've talked about as well.
Right. Like your takeaway is probably that this guy's a dickhead. Why?
Right. The whole department. Like, that's how when you're that young, you look at it, you're like, wow, why would I even come through this town if this is how this is going to be?
Yeah, and I remember ripping wheelies on Buttercup Lane.
Right.
I mean, I think I was going like 45, 50 in a wheelie, and the cop pulled on the road. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, go find somewhere else to do this, not in a neighborhood."
Exactly.
Which makes sense. Was it stupid? Of course it is.
Yeah.
Was I being stupid? Of course I was.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he was nice at that aspect. I mean, he could have followed us home, told our parents, whatever, and he didn't. He just told us to do it somewhere else. It's really stupid with all the kids and everything like that. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
And that speaks
it
more than
volumes.
writing a ticket.
Yeah.
Writing a ticket that Ospey cop did, I couldn't give two shits.
Right.
Write me another ticket.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yep. And that's the attitude you start to have.
Right.
And I'm going to go in the woods. And did that stop us from wheeling?
No.
No.
It actually made it worse.
Yeah, we spent thousands after that.
Yeah. What lakes have you fished this year? And have you fished any new ones?
I don't usually fish Balch, and I fished Balch a lot this year.
Really?
Yeah, I did it 3 times. Brad gave me a spot to go, and on the Navionics app, it's amazing. Like, when you look at Balch just standing there, it doesn't look like much.
It looks like a pickerel and bass infested little pond, really.
And if you look at it on Navionics, there is like 10 deep holes. It's amazing.
It's bigger than it looks.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually went on a boat last year, and it was my first time going around the entire lake, and it's huge.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yep. It's
got decent water quality. I mean, there is milfoil in there, which there's not a lot of places that it isn't.
Right.
But, it's got amazing black crappie,
yeah,
huge white perch, and huge perch. Oh, It's beautiful. You can get anything you want out of there except for trout.
See, a lot of people, all they see is from 153, and they see all the just the stumps. You know what I mean? It's like, no, there's so much more. You know, you go through that channel there, and it opens way out there.
But we did Great East this year too, obviously, and we got. I think we pulled 5 or 6 leakers out of there this year. It wasn't that much. Where else did we go? I think we did Winnipesaukee just once, but that's pretty much it. It's tough with the kids because I try to bring them with me every time I go, and now I have the snowmobile, so at least I can get to the places that I want to go where before I couldn't.
Yeah.
There was plenty of times. I even went to Horn and with Asher last year, and there was too much snow. I got 15 feet with pulling him. And I was
really?
Like, yeah, I barely made it out.
Is that where we went on Horns Pond?
Yeah, by the road.
Yeah.
And then you walk out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was so much snow that I was pulling everything with me that I just turned around. I didn't even turn around. We stopped. We went like 20 feet out and then fished there. I was like, wow, this is where we're going, dude. So, and he was like, is this where the fish are? And I'm like, yeah.
It is today.
Yeah, it is. And it wasn't bad. I think we got 1 or 2, which was enough for him. But
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you use for bait? And why do you use the bait you use?
This year I've been using Shiner a lot. And the main reason is because I don't have a good source for smelt.
Right.
I have to go to AJ's bait or Barry's bait, either one.
Yeah.
To get smelt. I love using it. I mean, when you fish in Balch, they definitely don't have a heavy population of smelt. It's just a lot of bait fish.
Yeah.
So we usually go with small shiners whenever we go for the panfish, for crappie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But on Great East, we always try to get smelt, and it's amazing.
It's like night and day almost.
It really is. I mean, when you give them the fish that they want, they will absolutely attack it. So that same trap, the trap actually next to it that I had that flag on, it was just about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I put my first smelt in and set the trap and go to put my gloves back on, and it literally almost hit me in the face. And I was like,
really?
I was like, God, I must have fucked it up or something. No, there was a huge fish on there that came by as soon as that smelt went in and grabbed it and took off. So it was unspooling so fast, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like shaking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, did I just win this tournament at 6 o'clock in the morning? But
within the first couple minutes.
Yeah. So I wait quite a while, let it take it, and as soon as it starts running again, I set the hook, and I had it for probably half the battle, and then it got off.
Really?
Yeah, and I was just beyond pissed.
Man.
Yeah, because I was like, oh my God, there's not that many rainbow in Great East.
Right.
So they're few and far between, so I was like, oh my God, did I really just do this?
Oh, that would have been awesome.
It didn't happen. And I was kind of like, I took a Snapchat video of it, the spool moving, and I sent it to the guys we were with.
I think I think I saw that too.
Yeah, so I got back and they were like, so? And I was like, no, it's not here. No. And so the whole day I was kind of like upset about, I'm like, oh my God, that was probably my one chance.
Yeah.
And then I got that lake trout. So I just told myself it was a lake trout.
Yeah.
And not a rainbow. So
yeah, hey, whatever makes you feel better.
Yeah, you got to justify it.
Have you ever used power bait?
Yeah, on Winnie.
What did you think of it?
I don't like it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people use it for rainbow.
Yes, a guy I work with, he swears by it.
Yeah.
He says he catches, he can't even, if he's in a decent spot, he can't even, he puts it down, instantly gets one. Are you freaking kidding me?
Well, he's got a good spot, because that's crazy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've used it, Uncle Jeff has used it.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has it in their bag.
Yeah.
It's just, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, it's also hard on lakes where you can only have 2 traps. It's like, do I really want to waste the one on power bait? And it's nice when you can put 5 traps out on the ice. And
yeah, and I mean, a lot of people use salmon eggs too, so they'll either use one or the other. I don't really care. I'll usually swap them up. I have this Marshmallow Bait too that floats, and it has.
Really?
Yeah, it has glitter in it too, so it shines in the water.
So what do you do? Just put a sinker on
Mm-hmm.
and let it float like a foot, 2 feet above the.
Yeah. So obviously, when I'm going for rainbow, I'm in a foot
Right.
or a foot and a half of water. So I'll generally have it sit like 6 inches above the sinker, and then just have it hang out. Yeah. And I have the jaw jacker works good too.
I was gonna ask you about that. Do you have one of those?
Yeah. So I have one. And
is it loud as hell?
When it goes off?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what I've heard. It's really loud.
Yeah, and it's also real dangerous.
Is it?
Yeah, when you're setting it up. Yeah, if you're trying to look, because of course, you want your depth to be good, depending on where you go. If you're in 5 feet of water and you wanted a foot off the bottom, then you try to estimate. So you try to look down the hole, maybe see where it is. Yeah, don't do that.
Just get knocked out by.
Oh my god.
I have a feeling it's called the jaw jacker for a reason.
Probably.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is?
You guys have been speaking fucking ancient Egyptian to me in the past 20 minutes.
So it's amazing.
Yeah, explain
You
it.
use a jigging rod, and you just have a contraption for it. It's the jaw jacker setup. So your line goes, all the way down through the end of it, and it has just like a hair trigger. So as soon as something touches it, you can set it. You can set it so it goes off easy or it goes off a little bit harder. But
so is it like a flag, like a normal?
no, it's a pole.
Oh, okay.
You set the jigging pole on it, and basically what happens is once a fish takes it, that freaking thing pops, right?
Yeah, it shoots right up, and that's why they call it a jaw jacker, because it almost always will set your hook in the top jaw.
Oh, okay.
It basically sets the hook for you.
Yeah, and a lot of rainbow. I don't know if you've ever watched underwater video, but they will go by and hit it with their nose 600 times before they decide to act on it. So as soon as they take it, they'll put it in their mouth and spit it out.
Why is that? Are they just that smart, or is that just how they how do they eat? Do they mess with bait fish like that?
Well, I mean, for the most part, especially for fly fishing, you're just throwing the fly on top of it. But that is their absolute natural reaction, is to obviously just go and attack that. But when it comes to something else, they'll just play with it.
That's weird.
Yeah. And then once they take it, that jaw jacker just attacks them. And I can't tell you how many smelt I've lost too.
Yeah.
Let's say with the jaw jacker, sometimes it depends on where you want to put the hook. Some people put it through, the front nose, or they put it through the tail, or they'll put it through the back, behind the dorsal fin or whatever. But when that jaw jacker goes off, if that trout maybe has it by the tail, first of all, it's going to rip that hook right through the smelt. So you've lost a smelt, and smelt are, $12 to $14 a dozen.
Yeah.
They're not cheap.
That's a good point. Is, it could just rip it right out, instead of where if it's on a trap and it's just picking at it and then decides to go after it.
You can let it eat it, swallow it.
Yeah.
So at least you can get that.
Right.
Obviously you don't want it to swallow it if you're not going to keep it, but I only fish for fish that I want to keep.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever thought about pike fishing, anything like that through the ice? Alicia Palmer, obviously.
Oh God. Yeah, the monsters that she's been raking
Monsters.
in. I know, it's pretty crazy.
Fucking river monsters.
Yeah. I have no interest in pike fishing.
No?
No.
Because it's something that you can't eat?
A lot of people say you can eat them, but I just have no interest. I absolutely love trout.
Yeah.
You know,
That's fair.
I just, if I'm gonna go for something that big, I'll just go on Winnipesaukee and, you know, try to get a 10 or 15 pound laker.
Yeah. I'd like to get her and Chris on the podcast.
Yeah, they're quite the duo.
They are.
Yeah.
And it's impressive with what they're doing, really.
I also heard you have to go fairly far north.
Yeah.
In Maine.
They travel quite a ways.
Yeah. Well, they have you saw that new snow tool, right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. They're all decked out. Like, that's their thing. They do the whole fly fishing thing as well, which is extremely impressive. And they tie their own flies. The whole 9 yards. It's like, my God.
Well, and when you have, you know, your significant other interested in the same thing, that definitely helps, because
it helps a lot.
it takes an incredible amount of time. And an incredible amount of money.
Yep.
To do it all the right way.
Yep.
We looked at getting a fly rod. I mean, I have one fly rod. It's a super basic
expensive.
one. Absolutely. I mean, you're talking, you know, $600 to $800 for a decent setup.
Yeah.
And that's decent. Like, there's very, very expensive ones out there.
Yep.
When we went up to Lake Francis, there was an incredible amount of fly fishermen up there, and it's a tense battle up there.
Really?
For space. Yeah. Which I want nothing to do with that.
Just fucking whipping people with your fly rod.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God, that's so funny. I want to talk some brook trout fishing.
It's coming up.
It is coming up fast, too. Honestly, within the next week or so, where it's going to be so warm, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, they start...
Yeah, they need 45 degrees before they'll start to really bite.
Yeah.
And I found that out last year because we got out into... Jeez, now I can't even remember the name of the river. But it's right over here. It's the one that we've always fished by Napa.
Oh.
Do you mean 45 like water temp or air temp?
Water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know.
You basically have to put it right in front of them.
Gotcha.
For them to bite it.
And it's weird fishing. Let me rephrase that. Brook trout fishing is a little weird. It's finicky. Like, you could go somewhere and just toss it right in front of them, and they're going to destroy it. Some places where we've been, if they see you, you won't fucking get a bite. It's almost like hunting. It's weird.
Yeah, you absolutely have to stay low.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they see you, I mean...
It's like they know. Like, it's fucking weird.
Yeah, they're so scared. And that's why I like trout, too. I mean, you know, I don't mind bass fishing and stuff like that. Especially when you can go with, you know, like your famous hula popper.
Yeah,
you know?
jitterbug.
Oh, jitterbug. Those things are fantastic.
Yeah.
And they're fun to use. But with brook trout fishing, you have to really, like, zone in.
There's some skill. There's a lot of skill in it.
Yeah, and you got to get it, you know, tiny pole.
Yep.
Especially if you're going in those little rivers.
Yeah.
And there's no casting.
Right. It's like flipping.
Yeah.
Like...
Yep.
And not even really. Sometimes it's just like you stand back, you hold the pole over, drop it in the water. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I just love it.
It's fun. And especially like when we would go up north to Errol, you would just go to a dirt road, you would just walk out in the woods, find a river or a stupid pond like the size of this goddamn table, and pull freaking brook trout out. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Freaking weird, man.
Yeah, I love it.
And
I love beaver ponds.
We just do worms.
Yep.
Like,
always.
It's fun.
Or whatever you can get.
Yeah.
Grasshoppers, crickets.
Yeah.
When you run out. But it's great, and they taste so good.
Yeah.
So that is what you know, right, Chris?
What's that?
Brook trout.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. They're so
and
good.
I say that because usually I see a body of wire. If I have a fishing pole, throw it in there. Then usually if I catch something, I'll kill it and bring it back with me.
Yep.
Fry it up and call it a day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, do you...
And as far as I know, it's just a fucking fish.
It's a
rainbow. I don't know. I think it's a trout, maybe.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a taste difference between native brook trout and stocked?
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, obviously what they eat matters. And I would imagine, is that the same for deer?
For the most part, it's really, with bear, it's really a big difference. But most deer eat the same freaking thing. But
And the other thing with tasting different is, a lot of people cook them differently. But I mean, the way we always had them was just deep fried. And I mean, as a kid, I remember the fins. They were like chips.
yeah,
They were so good.
yeah.
Huh.
When you and I stick to basically venison is what I cook.
Mm-hmm.
I don't dabble into the whole fish and stuff.
You will.
Can you, like, say I go and catch a fish out back, right, in the river that's out here, and I gut it, I bring it back. Can I just put that sucker right on the grill and cook it like that?
Sure. You just don't eat the scales. I mean, it depends on what it is.
Like a brook trout. Like if I go.
Oh, yeah.
I think your
absolutely.
question's more like with a deer. You usually you might let it age a day or two before.
No. I mean,
okay.
Can you eat the skin,
Oh yeah.
like the scales?
Oh, well.
Yeah. It just depends on the fish. So black crappie have big scales.
Okay.
So
This is what. I
you
want
would
to get into
generally,
this.
you would generally descale them.
Correct.
Yeah.
With a brook trout or a trout, really in general, they're not really scaly.
No.
Can you eat that?
Yeah.
Can you eat it?
Yep.
Should you eat it?
So the smaller the better. So that's why we liked the 6-inch brook trout.
Yeah, like just the legal limit.
Yeah, because by the time you cut the head off, you've got 4.5 inches.
Yeah.
And the bones are so small.
I feel like that's with everything. Like veal.
I hate
prime
veal.
example.
But
Or-
I understand that.
Or like Cat shot that button buck 2 years ago, and that was the best freaking meat I've ever had in my life. It's like filet mignon.
Is that why you?
It's filet mignon.
You like
I know.
that.
I'm just kidding.
Wait. Say the last part of that again.
Filet mignon.
No, the one after that. Say it the right way.
Filet mignon.
Okay. You kept saying McNon.
Mignon.
McNon. Yeah, that's what they serve at McDonald's.
That's where Brad gets every meal.
Yeah.
Makes sense now.
Makes sense. Where were we?
So
in that
yeah,
conversation?
you can scale them, but you were talking about the size.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
So the only thing is, what my dad used to do was he would save his brook trout because you can only get 5 a day.
right.
If you were trying to actually sustain yourself, you cannot do it hunting legally. You just can't do it.
I would agree with that.
So you would obviously have more of a chance hunting bigger game to be able to put it in the freezer and save. But 5 brook trout a day is not a meal. It's barely even a snack, especially if they're, if you're catching 4-inch,
Yeah.
after you fillet them and cut the head
Yeah.
off and stuff. But I mean, if you're talking 4-inch fish, that's nothing. You're gonna eat them in 4 minutes, and it's not enough. So he used to save them, and he would do them all at once. So he'd have 20 of them, and
Yeah.
that was enough. And that's it's one of those things that you just can't. I mean, of course, you could go back out and you could catch a different species of fish.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't eat fish every day.
Right. And I feel like your dad was a really good cook as well.
Yeah, he was amazing, especially his like roast beef and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's just unreal.
Yeah, he was a very good cook.
Yeah.
So
Or
what's
his bacon wrapped fillets. Oh my freaking
what's the best way to cook fish in your opinion?
fried.
Just
Yeah.
With
like
butter?
pan fried or deep fried? Like
Deep fried in oil.
gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So just absolutely amazing. And Brad's wife, Renee, she does her fish tacos that she does with the crappie or perch are just unbelievable. She does like a dill ranch sauce that she puts over 'em.
Really?
And it's just amazing.
Wow. We should get him on too.
Yeah.
He's quite the fisherman.
Yeah, he fishes a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially fly fishing. I haven't fly fished much, but I would love to. It's just it's the time thing.
Time consuming, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we said, it's expensive. I mean, if you're looking,
Yeah.
you have to get weighted line. and that weighted line, can be $60 to $80 for a reel of it, and then your pole $600, and then your reel's $300, and then you gotta have waders, which you don't want to get shit waders,
Right.
So then you gotta spend that money. And
I've learned that it's better to pay the money up front and get a good product than say, I'll just pay, X amount of dollars. It's super cheap. It'll last me. It doesn't last. You get what you pay for. That's where we're at in this country. Is you get what you pay for.
And that goes back to the drill thing too. Buying the hand drill to try to, be smarter with it. Yeah. Yeah. And then thankfully Crystal saw that it's shit. So she was like, go get your drill. Yeah. But at that point, I think it was January when I ordered it. I couldn't find them anywhere.
Really?
Every single place was sold out, dude. Ice fishing has blown up.
I think everything outdoors has since COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been great, but I'm really hoping that, when COVID goes away, or at least slows down. Well, I mean, it's slowed down, but
people won't have the time to be outside.
Yeah, and they sell their shit for cheap.
Yep. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, that they're like, I haven't used that.
I didn't even think of that.
That might be the same thing with hunting, too.
Yeah. Tree stands and blinds. And
I couldn't find... I broke my shack last year on Winnie during the tournament. And
that pop-up?
Yeah. I mean, I had it for like 8 years.
That was a nice pop-up, though.
Yeah, we got our money's worth out of it.
Yeah.
But it shattered the poles on
Really?
Winnie. Yeah.
From the wind?
Yeah. It was just completely destroying it. And once it broke a little bit, it didn't take much for the rest of it to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the cat pissed on it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so we just threw it right in the dumpster. I was going to try to salvage it, maybe duct tape it, do a dad thing.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so I just tossed it after that. But we couldn't find one of those either.
What?
Yeah, you could only find a 2-person one, which I'm not going to buy a fucking 2-person tent when I have a 4-person family. That's just so stupid.
Yeah.
So they're in stock now, but we're obviously not going to buy one right now because it's kind of stupid to buy it and sit on it all summer.
Right.
So we're going to get a Eskimo makes a nice 8 to 9 person.
Wow.
Yeah. It's huge.
Now, Rich built one.
Yeah.
Right? Have you been in that?
Yeah.
Is it nice?
It is. It is. It's very nice. And with that heater in there, it takes no time to heat up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it super expensive to make?
I think he said it was probably $400 to $600 total.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't bad. He built it all with wood and did it the right way and did metal roof and he polyurethaned all the outside so that way nothing could get in. He did it really good.
Yeah, that's
insulated the whole inside.
Oh wow, Jesus Christ!
It does not. I mean, it's amazing. He bought a Big Buddy heater and built a custom holder for a 20-pound propane tank off of the shed, so that way it's protected and it stays there for the whole season. And I bet it was 120 in there. It was crazy.
Whoa.
So we were just hanging the gloves up and stuff to dry and for the kids, and it's just nice to have a place to go, especially for the kids.
Yeah.
For me, I could give two shits.
Yeah.
I could be out there in 0 degrees and probably not even wear gloves.
Right.
But no, they can't do that.
The only time that I have basically quit because it was so cold was when we went to Moosehead.
Oh,
that was fucking insane.
When the car couldn't even stay warm.
Dude.
We couldn't even get the engine temp to come off of cold.
Right.
Yeah. We were driving around the lake to try to warm the car up.
You couldn't even put your trap in because there would be an inch of ice within 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was -40.
And as soon as you got a fish, you took your trap out, the whole thing froze instant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the line froze. The reels wouldn't even move.
That was insane. But the first day we were there was amazing.
Yep.
That was so much fun.
And the salmon that we caught.
Salmon, brown trout, lake trout, all in the same, 100-yard area. We were just catching all these different types of fish. And it was, how deep was it there? Was it over 100, right?
Oh, God. Well, even Grady East's over 100. think it's
Yeah, but
103.
this
but
wasn't
I
very
think-
far off the shore.
Yeah.
It
I
had to
forget
have been
what their
like
max depth
160
is,
or
but
something.
I thought it was in the 2s for
Yeah.
their max depth. But I remember we went into, when we first got to Moosehead, we went into that trading post
Yep.
in Greenville. And we went down in the ice fishing section, and we saw those giant spools.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the? Like, I mean, it looked like it was a joke.
Yep.
And then we got out there, and we
And
tried
we
to
weren't-
sound the bottom, and all the line was gone
Yeah.
before we even hit the bottom.
We're like, yeah, we got to move in.
Yeah, we gotta. We're a little inexperienced. We're from New Hampshire. Leave us alone. Yeah, so that sucked.
That was a lot of fun, though.
It was, especially with my dad.
Yeah.
With the bacon grease.
Oh my God. His dad got so fucking drunk. Okay.
I think we cooked 3 or 4 pounds of bacon. We just had BLTs and shit for the night.
Right. So he's like you know when you're drunk and you're like falling asleep, you're doing the head bob, and
Yep.
you know his head, he would go backwards,
He was in a recliner.
and it just kept going backwards, and he started going so far back that his head would just hit the bacon grease, right? Just hit it, and then it was fell right into the bacon grease.
Oh yeah.
For
and
fucking.
then he woke up and he was like, "Ugh." And we were like, no, you're good.
It was so funny.
So then he just kept dipping it. I swear, it was like making a candle. Like, you just keep dipping.
Oh, that was so funny.
And he woke up and he's like, all right, I better should go to bed. I would have loved to have seen his fucking pillow after that. He probably thought he like threw up bacon all over it or something.
That was so
bad.
funny. Oh my God.
Yeah, I remember the next morning he didn't go with us.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna stay home
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so funny. Good times.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to go back there.
Yeah, even the cabin that we rented was not expensive by any means.
I actually just found out, side note, Tam and Norm's timeshare thing,
Yeah.
they have one on Moosehead.
Shut up.
$300 for the week.
What?
Yeah. I think we paid, I don't even know how much we paid. I think it was like $900 for the week to stay in that small cabin. But yeah, it's in Greenville. It's like a few miles away. Not on the water like we were.
Right.
Which, it doesn't matter. There's
Yeah,
snowmobile
who
trails
cares?
everywhere. But anyways, side note.
When can we use that?
Anytime.
We should do that.
Mm-hmm.
Were we talking about this, Chris?
What?
Doing a trip like that down there? Was that you and me? Maybe it was Brian. But I was talking about it. I'm like, we should all do a guys trip down to Moosehead. We should do that for my bachelor party.
Speaking of that, when are you getting married?
September.
Jesus.
Yep. Don't do it.
Yeah.
On that note, we're gonna close this out.
Yeah.
Chris, you got anything that you want to ask or add?
No, the only thing I know is like 2 + 2 = fish, and
Yeah.
I'll figure that out later this year.
Yeah.
Where can people find you if they want to see stuff that you caught?
Nowhere.
You're an idiot.
I honestly rarely even
Post.
anything, especially about spots that I'm going.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell people what lake I went on,
Right.
but for the most part, you try not to.
Oh yeah, it's just like hunting spots. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is White Oak Creek Outdoors, a podcast for everyone with a passion for the outdoors.